Pounders, welcome back. We are running it back with Justin tonight for a BBM5 draft. Find out who his favorite targets are to round off the August draft season. We have preseason New England versus Philly on. See what Drake May can do tonight. And yeah, Justin, welcome to the live stream. Congrats to ETR, like scooping up Bestball Explorer. I think that's really neat. Obviously good for the space to just have more tools for people to use.
Yeah, I mean, from what I was playing with, I think it's become a pretty popular site. I don't have near the visibility and what the plans are there, but I've heard at least, hey, from Adam, like for now, keep it free and just as a kind of cool. I think a lot of it is just like, how do we just bring more awareness to not only ETR, but also the best ball space and those type of free tools, I think are fantastic.
Hey, you already did a great job with that, with tweeting it Big Cat in Portnoy. Did you end up getting a deal?
I did not, but no. And like, it was fun. And like, I ended up we have some mutual friends with those people as well. And I don't know. It was good to at least have them in the space. And I definitely feel like we did get a bunch of Barstool people just playing best ball and such. But now
more on DK, right?
100%. And look, so that's awesome. Like, DraftKings, I literally got in the mail, and it wasn't directly just to me. It was like, to the owner of this house, the resident of this house, like, come play best ball for $4 million in prizes. Like, there are people who are getting mailers who have never heard of what best ball is that are going to go jump in and play. So like, and then if you look at the DraftKings app, like best ball is still on the top of it. They have the visual image. There's no question DK is still pumping the marketing.
Yeah.
Underdog, they're still trying to kind of, keep us, the core user base of the initial early days drafters, happy, which is fantastic. But you can tell their goal is not to bring in new people into best ball space. Their focus is on the props. Their focus is on the sports betting. That makes complete sense from business-wise. But
yeah, definitely. It's like casinos with the poker tables. They're not making the money from the poker tables. I think that was awesome. Like, you got to play the villain sometimes. It's just the way it is. And I think it was great. And if this space is already growing at a rapid rate, oh wow, nice dump off there to Stevenson. But we had a little news with the Pats. Judon going to Atlanta, gonna hurt the defense. Clearly, maybe playing from behind even more. We figured the Pats may be able to at least lean into the defense, keep these games close, and that would help the run game. Is this just more help for Antonio Gibson and the pass catchers?
I mean, get a little more screens like that Ramondre one you just mentioned. And I mean, to be honest, we may see so many screens with how bad this offensive line is. Like the theory behind a screen often is like part of your line, you actually allow them to get beat, allow their defensive ends to come through. Your QB is expecting it and throws it behind them. And like, if your lineman's already getting like beast moded, maybe just throw it over their head and have that expectation that you're going to be behind them. I don't know. That's kind of look what's happened. I saw it out of my corner of my eye, but it's kind of what would have happened.
Yeah, no, it's sort of expected. Yeah, but yeah, it's interesting. If the O-line can be like bottom 10 and not bottom 3, you're probably getting really good prices on Stevenson and Gibson right now. And Gibson feels like a non-fail just where he goes.
But Gibson doesn't need the offensive line either, because
exactly.
If anything, Gibson no one actually ever benefits from a bad offensive line, but like, he definitely isn't hurt nearly as much as Ramondre is by a bad offensive line. And it could just lead to more 2nd and 10s, more third, like that. They need Gibson in there now. It usually leads to shorter drives too, so it all ends up kind of bad. But like, he's definitely not hurt as much as Ramondre is by a bad offensive line.
2 players would you draft right now, today's news, Marshawn Lloyd or Gibson?
I've drafted Marshawn Lloyd a bunch today because I'm literally getting him at like 180, 185. Like, the amount he's falling, because people have basically just said he's in the do not draft list. At that price, like, he's now going around the Damian Pierce, Jordan Mason. I've seen Braylon Allen going ahead of him. Bucky Irving is going ahead of him. So like, it makes sense that a lot of those guys are going ahead of him. But like, if I'm now taking it back that the thesis still rings true, he still just has to beat out AJ Dillon. Sure, maybe now it takes a couple more games for him to get there. But the talent is, just undeniable. Huge gap between him and AJ Dillon. Yeah.
So if you're drafting AJ Dillon right now, I agree. Thesis is still the same. We still want the production for the end of season. We've seen AJ Dillon's ceiling when he's the starter, getting 100% of snaps. I see people clicking Dillon now in the 17th. They're bringing him in. It's sort of a leverage play, maybe better in weekly winners. But in Best Ball Mania, do we really care about AJ Dillon if we're expecting Marshawn Lloyd to eventually beat him out, even if it's by week 10, even if it's later in the midseason? Do we care about AJ Dillon?
That's a tough click. Not accidentally. I did it once. I regrettably did it once in a DraftKings, where I think it was the 19th or 20th round, and running backs were just so ugly. And I was like, let me at least see if I can get some early production here to help me get, because I think it was one of those like 7 RB teams, to hopefully like get to a place where my later guys can find it. But yeah, that's the one, because someone asked me like, what's the worst click I made this year? And I feel like that's got to be it.
In the 19th.
Yeah, and it still feels so bad.
How about Madison or AJ Dillon? Two gross
I don't
guys.
think Madison's a bad pick. I'm not doing it, but we saw pretty clearly that Madison is like the number 2, that if there was something that was happened, he would kind of get that job. It's still, they're going to have a really strong defense, or at least they believe they're going to have a really strong defense. And I think it's going to be a pretty strong defense too. So like there will be some game scripts where we're okay with just the first, second down runner and getting a touchdown or two. I don't want to pay 7th round for that, but so that's why, if people want to take Madison for that thesis, I get it. There's other upside guys that I like a little more, that are maybe can get a larger amount of the volume and a little, or at least a better team. But
oh, this just in from 32 Beat Writers. Chris Evans torn patellar tendon in practice today. So
some IJP run. Come on.
Man, that's crazy. It's probably true.
What's a patellar tendon? Is that a season long? That's not what I'm very familiar with.
No, I want to say that's like 8 weeks, but I could be wrong. We're gonna have to wait for the fancy doctors on this one.
Yeah, seriously. Why can't you just pretend you're one?
I know. It probably depends on full tear versus partial. I'm not entirely sure if. Yeah, it doesn't say if it's full or partial here, but all right.
This doesn't sound great, but a 2016 study said the return to play rate for patellar tendon tears was just 50%, which is the lowest rate of any soft tissue injury of the knee or lower body that's stressed in the study.
Yeah,
that's not good.
We'll see if he gets surgery or not. But I mean, Moss, he's been falling behind these RBs, and I actually snuck into a room. Ooh, whoa, here it is. We snuck into a BBM. We get the 2 spot.
2, awesome. Great.
I have not drafted from the front of the board in a very, very long time. So, man, Lamb at 6%. I don't want this to be a thing. Tyreek Hill at 4%. I don't want this to be a thing. So I'm happy to get one of these 3 guys right now.
You got McCaffrey over 8. So you can't complain too much there.
Drake man in the end zone. Walked in.
Okay. Who caught it?
He walked in.
Oh.
There we go. Back into the 16th.
Wow.
Pack your in. Where's the retweet?
Just give him a chance.
Stock going up. But guys, if you're just joining us, go down, slap the like on the live stream. Hit the subscribe button if you enjoy the content. We're going to be doing a 24-hour live stream at 2,000 subs. We're 55 away. Crazy close. Who do you like here? Lamb, I'm assuming?
Yeah, no reason to go otherwise. I'm not scared of the contract issues.
Okay.
Can we get a quick, I don't know if you have it easily available, maybe sometime midstream, but can we get a recap of our team from last year? Because I know it did but I forgot what it looked like.
I know we bought the dip on Nico. We had Love. We had Reed as a late back stack. Finishing the top 10K. We didn't have Mostert, which is probably a big piece missing there. Really bump it. And then we got bumped out week 16. I'll look for it in results, rankings.
Jaden Reed would have been fun in week 17 up until the injury.
It's a great squad we put together. So we're running it back. We have to get this one to week 17. This is all that matters, I hear.
Yeah, well, I mean, we didn't win, did we? So like that team was basically dust. Like
Yeah, right.
completely
Exactly.
forgotten.
Exactly. Let's see. Had 2 teams push to week 16 last year, which you can't complain. It's right above average. That's all you're looking for.
Yeah.
It's such a
Get on the right side
contest.
of variance. While you're doing that, I have a question for chat. What are things that you would rather do in your daily life than draft from the 12 spot right now? For example, I was just putting some IKEA furniture together for my downstairs area.
Oh, jeez.
I think I'd rather put together another chair than draft from the 12 spot.
Dude, it sucks. And IKEA is tough. IKEA is tough on the mental health.
This wasn't actually IKEA, but like, you get the point. Yeah, I still had I have blister. I don't know. I'm forming blisters.
Here she is. We hit Jalen Hurts with Brock Purdy, so it wasn't a Jordan Love team. I remember
love Hurts.
I remember it incorrect. We did have Reed though. Henry White, Penny took a fat 0. Herbert, Zamir White, Tyreek Hill, McLaurin, Aiyuk, Addison, Nico Collins, Zay Jones, Reed, Paris Campbell, 2 zeros. This team finished in the top 10K. Kittle, Kmet, and Musgrave.
Is the points how many points they contribute to team throughout the year?
Yes.
Wouldn't Zamir White have gotten us more than 4.3?
I feel like that would have been true, but maybe he just scored points on the same weeks that Henry White. Maybe we had to flex,
or maybe this
doesn't
include playoffs. That's what this is. That's what it is. 1861 is a good regular season score, and he had a few weeks in the playoffs that makes sense. Okay. Yeah, so he probably helped us in the playoffs to get us to that week 16. But yeah,
I bet. Yeah.
That was a pretty strong team. We had some strong hits there.
Tyreek Hill, I know it was the week 14 game that he left early, and that got Liam to advance his big dog in front of me by 4 points. I was in first or second all year, and then I was we were at the dog bowl together. I was also sweating that getting in the top 2, and Khalil Herbert went off for him out of nowhere. I forgot to bring it up yesterday. I was
gonna say, to be fair, like he hasn't been that lucky, so like it's good for him to get a good good result once in a while.
I'll have to pull up that team so you could roast that one. We had him on the channel last night for a BBM5 draft. It was fun. So 2 BBM5 or BBM winners in a row. It's always fun to have you on the show, and I've seen you've been making the rounds as well to the smaller streamers. So you're the Robin Hood in this space now.
The what are you? Because I've seen you in all the chats giving out subscriptions in each one. So like, does Robin Hood have like, I don't know, a sidekick or a boss or something?
It trickles down. It trickles down. Oh man, you gotta plant the seeds. Cooper at 18. Okay. He's been rising with the Puka news. Are you dropping Puka at all? Are you happy to get him at 12? What's sort of been your Puka stance?
I'm still taking Puka at 11 or 12. And usually I'd say 65, 70% I'm getting Marvin Harrison as well. And that's just a combo that like people weren't getting earlier. So I'll take the slight injury dip to get that week 7 correlation.
Yeah.
I was going to make a note on Cooper Kupp where each year there's someone that like you kind of weren't in on early and then they just keep rising. And for me, that's Cooper Kupp this year. And like, I don't want to chase it, even though like, I think he's a fine pick where he is.
Yeah.
He's not, in my opinion, a better pick than what's going around him. And you're paying like around more. So I kind of just am saying like, I'm just going to end up with like 2%, 3% on Cooper Kupp and feel a little gross about it. But yeah.
It's fair. It's fair. Leveraging one side of a take is, I mean, that's how you could hit really big in a single year. Look at this room. Just realizing how many badgeless.
Yeah, and around us too. Like 0 around us either. I'd go HN and I would.
Let's
be very happy about
Let's go. They're trying to catch back up. I was waiting to see how far he fell. I was at like 2% when we're at like 100 drafts. I just want to see how far he fell, and I was taking him at basically 25 plus. But we found the tipping point, and now he's on the rise.
Devontae, give us the correlation.
Let's go. Let's go.
Good start. So
I'm on board.
my Achan, and I started drafting BBM this year about 3 weeks ago. And so that's when Achan was like 26, 25, somewhere around there. But my thesis was the wide receivers in that area are all so flat that if I in pick 28 or 29 or 30 even, I had Achan fall to me, I'm like getting up, doing a little dance. I'm ecstatic, right? But so if I'm that happy, then why not just take him at the mid end of the second when the wide receiver is not that much different? Now, that's how I end up with like low on the Cooper Cup or the Debo, and it is what it is. But like, I don't think there's that much of a difference in the projections wise. So give me the HM, which is now like I'm at 30% of or something. 25 to 30, something like that, because I was just taking him. And it also allowed me to finish with a running back in almost 75% of my first 3 rounds, because any pick from 1, I'm having McCaffrey. 6 and 7, I'm getting Bijan Bryce. 6, 7, 8, Bijan, Bijan Brees. 2 to 5, I'm getting usually Achan, or if not, I kind of get Kyron. And so it really just turns into, okay, in those like 9 to 11 picks, 9 to 12, do I end up with a Gibbs or a falling Kyron? And I like those hero builds. And
And Gibbs, you're getting those unique combos now at the end of the season. Even him falling to 16 with AJ Brown has been harder to get earlier in the offseason. It took, a random room to really be low on drafting RBs. You're getting him all the way to 22. I saw on the Twitter machine, which those just make you hurt, like the why not me's. And I posted one of those today, and those do fire on the Twitter machine. But
I did a Jamar Chase and a Gibbs, and it was right when that what happened, because thinking was, who knows what this is, and give me that uniqueness, because there are very, very few of those. I think that's my current Gibbs thought is, even if you don't love Gibbs, AJ Brown and Gibbs is still fairly rare. Like it happens, but that's still a pretty rare one. The more rare it can be, even if I'm out, even I think Gibbs is overdrafted, it's still worth it.
Yeah, hell yeah.
What do we think about Eric H's team?
Yeah, he's doing stuff. I automatically done at 4 RB, so easy to make a mistake here just with roster balance. We'll see if he stops or not, but
I think he finishes with at least 5 running backs.
The bet is it's not a bad one. It's not a bad one.
There's no
five is probably too much with this. What's your thought on hero RB this year versus zero RB, which has been the common, favorite, at least from statistical standpoint over the last couple of years, but with these RBs, ADP is so suppressed. Do you think you see a change this year?
I think if anything, because like you're mentioning that like statistically the past year or two has, suggested that zero and hero RB are successful and that they could be predictive going forward. The way that wide receivers are this year, if anything, should lean more into that theory. So yeah, I'm very strong. I would say basically I'm trying to think of when I haven't to then use like the 1-. So I'd say I'm like 95% of the time doing either hero or zero. And my definition is in the first 4 rounds, not having more than 1 running back.
Yeah. Like Pacheco, ETN.
I mean, I'm okay with that as my first. I've done that where like in the back half, I go 3 straight wide receivers and I go Pacheco or ETN. But like, I'm not grabbing Gibbs and then Pacheco or ETN. I'm thinking there might have been a time where like I had Achan in the beginning of the second and like a Gibbs or ETN fell. And then it's like, okay, well now that's a pretty unique plus strong ADP. Like it's worth it.
It's punishing to go too early RBs just with how far the wide receivers are pushed up. It was much easier to do it earlier in the draft season. We get Hurts, automatic click.
Easy click. The way that I kind of compare that is, first off, in a vacuum, him at 47 is good value. And then second is CeeDee Lamb and Dak is probably one of the highest, most commonly stacked 2 players. Jalen Hurts and Devontae is not, because it takes a little while for it to get there.
Do you like the Pickens buy here?
I am stay away from Pickens right now, specifically with the Aiyuk still being possible.
Okay.
Christian Kirk's got a little injury, but I still like him a lot. That's probably what I would lean here.
Okay. Yeah, let's go Kirk. I'm a little lower on him because I'm typically, if I'm in this spot and I see Kirk and I see Lamar, it's been really tough for me to click Christian Kirk over Lamar, thus the 17% here. But I think this spot is fine. Now, what percent do you think Aiyuk goes to Pittsburgh versus stays? Because I'm on the other side where I'm scooping those guys, saying it's less likely to happen. So I'm on the 51% chance it doesn't happen side. Getting a little more unique combos. That's more with Aiyuk than Pickens too, because Pickens been a riser.
Okay. Yeah, because before we get to the percentages, like, what are you gaining by drafting Pickens now versus previously? And I think that's where, like, the May 8th to June 12th was just like his ADP was too high. Like, It was a player aspect. I think when you get to that June 12th is where it's like, now we're starting adapting to, like, new. So
I think the Aiyuk one's a little more interesting if you're going by that thesis, because he's going to a price he's never gone to. Whereas like Pickens, you had a month, 2 months to draft him at this price, and in certain rooms he would fall too, just out of favor because of price. So
yeah, and if you look at ETR ranks, like in what I believe, like he's overdrafted in general. Like, if anything, just bringing him to a place where now he's actually okay, but okay in the fact that if the Aiyuk doesn't happen, I agree with the Aiyuk one though, because if you can get him late in the like mid third, late third, you're getting at a value people aren't getting him. You're getting some unique roster combinations. Like, that's one I'm more willing. The Pickens one is
like Aiyuk at 29 is nice in my opinion. If he stays in San Fran, you're a happy doggy.
It's interesting because it's still worse than people were getting Aiyuk at 24, 23, 25, 26 and such. And now you're pairing with a better first rounder. The Waddle versus whoever your other third player doesn't really make a difference. Like, those teams are still worse. But it's different. It's a little unique because you have Amon-Ra instead of Lamb. I'd rather have Lamb. But I think, like, we still need to be cognizant of, like, because of how flat this wide receiver group is, I'm not making these super teams because I'm getting him middle of the third and such. Because the teams that were getting him, if they're paying a little more, the second player, they weren't losing out much on.
Right. So the 1-for-1 flip's not too crazy.
But it's still worth doing because of the uniqueness.
Yeah, right. You sneak one of those into a 539 final, what percent, if 65% of the contest or 62% of the contest couldn't get Aiyuk in the third round or the mid third, that's pretty fun. Yeah. And we don't know how long this could last too. If he gets a contract done with San Fran, he's going right back up. So
and they were a pick away from getting Aiyuk and Laporta. And like, that's one where those two have pretty strongly been on opposite sides of the draft. Yeah. So like, I grabbed a Debo and Laporta earlier today, and it was, I'll pull it up, but I think it was Laporta in the fourth round too. Like, it was a weird one.
So he fell to the left side of the board.
Yeah, because both Debo and Laporta did. Wow. And like, that's where I'm like, okay, I'm getting some correlation. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
See if I can pull that one up.
Then Worthy, with the Hollywood Brown news, I figured he would have rose maybe 8 picks, 10 picks. He gets like a 4-pick bump. What have you been doing with Hollywood and in the Worthy situation?
Yeah, let's do this pick and then I'll jump. Definitely not taking Hollywood here. Probably too wide receiver.
I'm good with JSN.
Yeah, I like that. That's a better stack partner for draft capital is a Geno than Herbert, but I would have, I think JSN and McConkey are the two that I would default to here.
Yeah. I would typically be Lad, but Tyler Lockett, a little leg injury, if that lingers with his age.
The JSN playing so much last week was just so weird. Like, that scares me a little bit. But here, if I would go with Lad here. I wouldn't go with tight end because, okay. You could go Ingram. Actually, I would go Ingram. I'm going to change that.
Okay.
Because
let's bring in.
We have Christian Kirk, Trevor Lawrence with Jalen Hurts is fine capital in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
We can still grab Dallas Goedert as a second tight end, but we also don't have to feel like we need to reach for it at the pick 98. We can just hope that he falls to us at 119. But in the case that someone snipes him on his own, we're not like, oh crap, we missed the tight ends. We still have Ingram.
Look at this run at QB too. After the room devalues QBs, let Josh Allen go 46, 47. They just decide, all right, now it's time to push him up with Mostert. This is the one spot going. Yeah.
Naked Kyler to pair with Josh Allen.
Josh Allen. So this Jalen Hurts feeling good right now for sure in the specific room. Double elite tight end here too. So maybe that could have been the coin flip on Ingram. You don't know when these guys are going to stop.
Yeah, I think what you're describing here is really important too. And I am definitely someone who is guilty of this, but like on Underdog, I almost exclusively draft on my phone. If I'm not streaming, just because my quality of life and everything like I'm doing on my phone.
It's
I still try to leverage the draft board, and they have one there. But like these are important things. But like if I'm doing the 555s on DraftKings, I'm often using my computer as well, because just a little higher aspect. And like earlier today, there was one guy who in the rounds, I think 4, 5, 6, 7 or 3, 4, 5, 6 went 4 straight QBs. And if you weren't paying attention to like what was happening, it led to the craziest run on quarterbacks where Daniel Jones was going in, I think, like the 10th or 11th round, and Bryce Young, where you were going to get stuck because this guy not only took 4, but he took 4 of the elite ones. So all the other guys who were trying to stack have lost their stacks. So now you're just trying to get QBs. And I think like when you see that happen to a lesser degree here, Josh Allen, Kyler, Dalton Kincaid, George Kittle, you may not feel it immediately, but at some point there's going to be a pressure. And it's better to be ahead of that. No, it was not. Also, I'm cheers for the latest Claypool news.
RIP. But we'll see. Not completely dead yet. Not completely dead yet.
There's a chance that he can sign back on a new thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully it works out. It's guess what? People like Mike was changing people's mind. Like Mike was changing people's mind, like, oh, what if Claypool's who I need? So we'll see.
Also, it's an 18th. It's a late pick. I keep mentioning last year. If you look at, I think it was like the 10th round. There was one player who had a positive advance rate. It was Brian Robinson, and Brian Robinson didn't even have like a great year. It's just it was such an ugly round that no one actually helped your team. So unless you were like got good ADP value and got a 9th rounder, or you reached the 11th, like it wasn't going to work out for you. And that can help it happen, especially in later rounds. So it stinks that like you miss, if you have a player like that, you miss out on getting the Pukas and Kyrens and Tanks and all that.
Well, but one of our guys we finished with the top 10,000 lineup in BBM4 last year, and we had a 0 in the 10th round with Penny.
Yeah. I need to go watch back that stream and see how we ended up with Penny.
I know it wasn't me.
Actually, it was probably Jalen Hurts. I'm sure we just, because I had very little Penny
offensive
last year
stack.
Too. But I'm sure it was Jalen Hurts, and we probably got a little value on him.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Jalen Tolbert's definitely a strong pick.
Yeah. Are you pulling them up to like the 15th, 14th right now?
So this is the time of year that on my last, I don't really care about ADP. I'm just really trying to get the right guys.
Strong
and
teams.
I'm also focusing a lot on how often they've been drafted. And so guys like Jalen Tolbert is one of the few that has not been drafted like the entire time. I can pull up in a minute what his actual draft rate is. So if I have to pay a round or so more, I'm willing to. I think this is a pretty good build to get him because we have the Jalen Hurts aspect. We're trying to really build out a mega game stack, assuming if we're able to get the Goddard, could take
some
a Johnny Wilson.
Random reason. If Tolbert's the guy week 16 for a low advance rate, CeeDee Lamb, like something like that, ping pong could be very interesting. Because it is punishing. If your first round guy doesn't go off week 16, your advance rates are going to be trash. Going into week 17.
Also, advance rates. Like if you're on week 16, you probably only have at least, at most like 1, 2, 3, 4.
You're hoping you have 2.
Right. Yeah.
It's
So
above average, just above average. I think I want to say it's like 1.5 or something, 1.7 going into week
assuming
16.
150.
I have to do the math over again with the 1 out of 13, 1 out of 16. I know it's still around 1 out of 8 years if you're maxing to get to the finals in this, but without edge.
150 divided by 6 divided by 13 divided by 16 is 0.12. Oh, let's get rid of the last
I believe
it's 1.92.
Do you like Swift here? Do you like Pollard? Do we want to go?
I like running back.
This guy's got 3.
Ferguson's juicy. Let's grab Swift. There's a teardrop of the Swift.
Okay.
If Ferguson falls to us,
I'm a big Ferg guy sitting at a little 17% here. She thick.
I think we have to take we have to take Ferguson.
Yeah, this is crazy. 98.
You're getting a round of ADP.
But do we not want? Okay, because we're gonna fall right at the Goddard ADP as well.
That's fine. This is more important. This is a better pick.
Let's do it.
It also gives us an outside shot of Dak falling back to us.
This guy went another QB. So here we go. The elite QB start helps us.
Well, Dak probably won't fall back to us, but I've seen it. On ship chasing, I think Dak fell to like 122, and Davis accidentally still didn't take him with his lamb because he was drafting 2 teams the same. But like,
it's very tough to get the Jake Ferguson Lamb stack at this ADP. Like, you can get it if you want to pull him up to 73, 74.
Right. We theoretically could have taken Ferguson at 95 and Dak at 98, but we wouldn't do that with Hurts.
Yeah. This is quite the start here. How about a little like Johnny Wilson late receiver for this squad?
Yeah, perfect round 18. Tolbert of the 15th, Johnny Wilson the 18th. This is probably going to be a 2 QB, 2 tight ends, so 2682 looks right.
Yeah, shout out to him with the gritty. I think you got this one right. Even if he doesn't do it this season, just the price you paid. That's how I like to at least judge my pre-season process is, are you getting these guys that are rising?
CLV.
Even though it didn't matter for the winner. I think his team was like minus 270 or something. We did the math on it. Shout out to Nick, NF42 in the chat.
It's 270?
Yeah. Yes. It was pretty gross. He must have, and he had Madison. Madison rose like 60, 70 picks, so he definitely was closest to the end of the season draft, I believe.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a light 15. It's exactly 15 picks. That's a round reach per. Well, I guess it's closing line, so it may not be reaching the time. But,
you saw his last like 4 or 5 picks too. He went and he's like forgot all ADP and then darted every single one of them.
Yeah.
So we took a little break from receiver.
Hey, Eric hasn't taken another running back, so props to him for at least after taking 3 straight. Going all wide receivers. If you're going to do 3 running backs, that's the way to do it.
Yeah, the recovery. You have to do that.
Now, if he takes Cooks at 113, that'll be a decent little setup for making up for that 3 running back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not too worried about the injury to Cooks. I think it came back. It was minor.
Okay.
Dealing with knee soreness.
Still don't want your 29-year-old wide receiver
with knee soreness. No, that's another bump. That's another
30.
Bump to Tolbert. That's another bump to Lamb, Ferguson.
Okay. 30, and he turns 31 next month.
But it doesn't take a lot for him to get there in best ball, right? Like, can you justify him in a way that, if you don't have a piece of the Dallas offense, forget like Dak. If he goes, at pick 117 or 124, whatever it might be, to get a piece of that Dallas offense to leverage that game on the Dallas side, are you okay with that? Or are you just like, give me someone else that has a higher chance of finishing in the 50s?
All right. So if we look at just last year, there were 25 teams that scored 38 or more points in a game. The second highest team did it 3 times. The Cowboys did it 6 times. And then if you look at just the top 10 highest scoring games, the Cowboys were 3 of those as well. Yeah. So if you're taking kind of analysis on last year, like this is a team that is willing to pass. They are explosive. They're willing to run up the score. Like that's something that we should actually keep note of. And, we care about spikes on players. Shouldn't we care about spike weeks on teams too? That's how Brandon Cooks had that huge game. That's how Jake Ferguson had his 3 touchdown game. Like those spike weeks can happen when a team does that. Now, if you listen to Rich Rebar and JJ Zacharyson on JJ's most recent podcast, they talk specifically about Dallas and the regression that we expect because Dak's touchdown rate was like ridiculously high. The team in general's effectiveness with touchdowns was very high. So like we're expecting to have a regression. And so when we get to the Brandon Cooks, like if you told me they were going to do what they did last year, like, yeah, Brandon Cooks, Jake Ferguson, they're all great picks. The challenge is that, especially like someone with Brandon Cooks, there's a bit of a parlay that you have to hit, that the team continues to remain a high level of efficiency. Right. The offensive line is a little worse.
Yeah. Throwing just as much in the red zone. Like they threw a shit ton in the red zone, and Dak was hyper efficient.
Yeah. My concern with the team is just they're an injury or two away from like just being like, I don't know, what's the word, impotent. Like if Lamb gets hurt, there's no offense. If they lose 1 or 2 offensive linemen, like there's some concern there. I'm not drafting them. Like I still get a bunch, but yeah.
Griff in the house. His team is cooking. Shout out to Griff. This guy's got 3 QBs. This guy might be on auto.
We should be fine. Oh, did we get the free?
Ooh.
Oh, and it took T-Law with a... Okay. Real quick, we could set up for Gino. I don't want to grab Tua. What running backs are available? This is a good one, running back area. Dowdle.
All right, the first Rico share going in the bucket.
No, what?
This is hard stance. Hard stance. We'll take it on the Herzig team. You only need one.
Why? What's your Zeke ownership? 11? You just scared of the team that scores the most points in the league?
Well, no, I 17% Fergie. We got Dallas 121. This guy's just going and getting his guys.
All right,
are you interested in Myers, Judy?
Edwards. No. Yeah, wide receivers. I like Jacoby.
Okay. I was gonna say if we think 143, 146, we're probably not gonna love that range of RBs unless this room gifts us Ty Chandler somehow.
Yeah. Well, we're probably gonna end up with 6 running backs. And that's why I was like, I don't want a 4th here if we're gonna do, because if we take another running back there, now we're doing like a 2-5-9-2, and I'd much rather do a 2-6-8-2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the thing with Dowdle is, again, I don't mind taking a hard stance and saying like Zeke's gonna be the guy. On the goal
what's
line.
The thought process? Is it just like
basically just goal line, Zeke out there, 3rd down protection, and getting those dumps from Dak as well. So,
do you need me to send you like a highlight reel of Zeke from last year?
No,
sorry,
no,
I couldn't find one.
Zeke had a RB1 overall finish last year. I'm not a big Zeke guy. I'm drafting him when he falls. I'm drafting him on select teams.
It's good because he falls a lot. When you throw him the ball, he literally falls. Like if he tries to take a step, he falls.
And he's right now is like the old school like Leonard Fournette. You know, he comes into camp, he looks chunky, like it's all bad. But I'm really leaning into the pass game.
How many more drafts do you have?
32 after this.
All right, so you can get up to like 8%.
Yeah, it's not too late. Oh man, Tua Purdy. Yeah. So we're going to need to backstack some QB.
I think Gino's right now the big one.
Yeah, Gino's definitely the big one for us with the most.
It's a full game stack because we have the Chicago on the other. We have the Swift on the other side too.
Yeah, it's going to be an important one. Where's the DK team? DK's at 4. They have 2 QBs, but again, this room's kind of lawless.
Who knows? Yeah.
Where's the Sharks team?
What are our pick numbers if you could scroll down a little going forward?
Yeah, so it'd have to be at this
167 or
167.
146.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
where's the
it basically
Lockett and
falls
DK?
at ADP.
So
DK's
DK's
here at
there.
4. They're
He's
gonna
got
have
Burrow
first.
Lawrence. He's
They're gonna have
probably
first
done.
lick. Should be.
Yeah. And
Should
where's
be.
Lockett? All right. Look at Zeke and Destroy.
Just
Lamar.
has Lamar.
Maybe he
But I
goes
don't know if
Rodgers. Hopefully he goes Rodgers with 136. To pair
he's
with
in the
his Mike.
live stream as well. I would lean into Cousins with this team instead of Tyler Lockett. I think that's sort of a weaker.
I think that's probably fair. Yeah, and
start.
Cousins and Rodgers are both available at the next pick.
Right.
I think in general, like if he was to fall back to us, we might want to convince ourselves to take Geno over 46 just because of the way that this QB room is going.
I think we could advance out of this room no matter what. So, but yeah, for playoff correlation week 17, that's maybe even more important to go get your guy if you have confidence that we could advance in this room.
Well, yeah, exactly. The correlation for the playoffs with regards to stacks is, when you have like a Jalen, you're counting on week 17 being the Jalen stack that goes, especially with all this Dallas stuff going. Yeah. But for me, it's that week 15, week 16. Maybe Jalen doesn't have the greatest game, and Geno does. And now that's actually extremely valuable for us because we can get a low-owned Jalen stack through.
Yeah. Oh, man. C-Money doesn't like the no Rico. You guys just love the undrafted free agents in the 10th round. Come on.
Okay.
Panic, I have a question. I'm only doing 5 BBM5 teams this year, and today on my 4th, I got a chance to take CD for the 3rd time, but instead I took Chase. Should I have just taken CD again? What are your thoughts on this?
What are your goals? Why are you doing Bestball? If you're doing it from a purely entertainment stance and like, hey, you have 5 teams and you want to kind of create the most amount of fun for those 5 teams, then yeah, I don't think it's any problem to kind of grab someone else other than CD to just get a little different cheering aspect. If your goal is like, I need to grind my dick to 3.9 inches. I follow ETR and all the other boys there. I need to make sure that I get the most EV. You probably should take in CD.
Yeah, I can't say, right? Probably have a little more risk tolerance too. So some of that's bankroll as well. I don't know. I think it's kind of subjective to, like, sort of like what Justin said. Like, what are your goals? What are you looking to do? Are you going Dobbins here? Are you pulling him up above Benson? Or are you still cooking Benson for like end of season?
Benson.
Like
still Benson.
James Conner miss 3 games every year.
Yeah. I do like
Downs a lot. Downs. I love Downs. I'm at 19%. Yeah. I haven't stopped. I'm good with Downs. I really think let's
look at these wide receivers real quick. I'm just trying to think, is there another back stack that we want to plan for?
Reynolds, Knicks, Patriots.
Let's go Downs, and I'm going to push for we grab Geno with this next pick. I don't think he's going to fall back to let's look at the DK drafter and the Lockett again.
Yeah, DK still got the 2 QBs, Burrow and Tila. I don't think he brings in, like, he looks like he knows what he's doing, pissing for a little while, hitting RB in a good range, little head on Chase. So might be on top of player news. I think we could trust this team.
Okay, let's say not Geno, and who else would we choose?
Wow, Levis goes. Levis, Jordan Love.
Let's see what player we would go if not Geno. God, Geno's such a reach. No, but I'm saying no. I'm saying, sorry, other position. Like at this pick, if we're not going Geno, who are we going?
It would be Algier, Dobbins, Chuba, a little injury today.
I do like Algier. I'd probably go Algier and say we're gonna figure it out.
Yeah, we basically have to hope Captain Kirk makes it back to Zeke here in the 9s
or Rodgers. No, he says he's not going to be. I think he put in chat, I'm not going Rodgers.
But I mean, I wouldn't say that seems early because you still have Conklin for the double stack, which I mean, I like that.
His order should be Kirk, Rodgers, Geno.
Yeah, but if Rodgers comes back to us, we can backstack Rodgers, Conklin, and Corley.
Yeah, I mean, we can do Baker and Jalen and Well, no, we don't want Conklin. We're done at tight end, but
Oh yeah, yeah. It's gonna be
Unless
too
we're
much.
just trying to psych him out and being like, yeah, we'll take Rodgers. Just give him to us.
It's such a good pick.
But yeah, there's still a lot of backstack options.
Hope we don't end up with Darnold, the Darnold nailer. Backstack what you need.
Oh, I've done a few Darnold already today with some
I bet
falling Jordan Addison with Darnold. Get a little hawk in there.
He should probably be in the 16th round. I have to redo the
ETR,
rankings tonight, but
yeah, I think at ETR we moved him up to like around Matthew Stafford.
Wow. Yeah. I think you can get him every single time at like 181. You know, I think you could get him in like 97% of drafts right now. But yeah,
you've got 3 people fighting for him though. That's the only thing is Jefferson, Addison, Hawkins. Like you've got to kind of play that. And if we want to get into like the uniqueness aspect, there's not going to be many Sam Darnold fully stacked teams. Like,
yeah. If you get to like 3%, that's probably going to be field average on this contest.
Well, that's a fair guess. Let me see what has been drafted so far.
Nice. Okay, Kirk 153. It does fall to our man in the live chat. Oh,
nice.
Gino would be nice for the game stack.
Yeah, and I mean now he should fall to us. Like anyone else taking him is now making a mistake. Zeke can destroy if you would have taken him instead of Kirk. Like I mean, if Kirk wasn't there, it makes complete sense. Okay, Darnold is 11%, and we have about 30% of drafts still to go. So if he goes in 100% of those, he can get up to like 40%. Which means if you get to 4%, you're more than the field. If you get to 7, you're twice. Yeah.
So around 3. Michael Wilson off at 155. I'll read it out for the listeners. We have a 1-4-6-2 build. Jalen Hurts, Achane, Swift, Rico, Algier, Lamb, Smith, Christian Kirk, JSN, Jacoby Myers, Josh Downs, Ingram, and Ferguson. I can't stop buying the Downs. The Downs fall. But yeah, where are you on Downs? Are you above field on him? We're not seeing a huge drop after the injury. Maybe like 6 picks, 8 picks.
We're not seeing a huge drop because guys like me and you keep taking him. Like the challenge. Let's see how far was that? Because the challenge for the Josh Downs drop is that
11 picks. 11 picks.
No, that's around. Yeah. But he's dropped to the point where like you don't like any of the wide receivers at the 150 like range. So even though you're like, I don't love him, but
can't go much further. There's
just a dead zone in the drafts. Like that's when people start reaching. So I'm, got Downs at 208 on DK today. Oof.
Commonality here. We found some commonality. Beautiful thing. If you guys are just jumping in, go down, drop a like on the live stream. We're going to be doing a 24-hour live stream if we can hit 2K subs before NFL kickoff. A few weeks away. So if you guys enjoy the content, make sure you do that. Give Justin a follow. You guys probably already are, but link is in the description to all those socials. And yeah, this is we're on the way to finishing BBM. I didn't do any DK this year. Justin has some DK left, so your finger's gonna be busy for the next couple weeks.
I will. I was looking because Johnny Football is basically asking questions what you were just referencing. I was talking to Pat before this on the show. So I have for the millies, for the main ones, I've got 32 DKs left. I've got 51 or 53 BBMs left. There goes Gino.
To the A-Rich Staffy team. You hate
Gino.
Honestly, our Hertz team is strong though. In this room, our Hertz team is very strong.
We're fine. I like we got some Bo Nix backstacks. Let's take a look at the QBs and think about who we can still backstack. Honestly, I would go just to Deshaun. I think if Deshaun goes, let's just take him.
Yeah.
He can be naked and like doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Granted, the worst things happened to him when he was naked, but still.
Cedric. All right. Now I can tell you were streaming with Emo Cowboy for too long. Shout out to Ty. Okay, Deshaun's here.
Okay,
Late
is there
Cedric
another player
Tillman?
that we really want to take instead? I do like myself some
Oh,
Bucky.
we can't go.
Now we're done. Yeah. Who does are we at fear of MD gonna take Deshaun? Can we go to the board real quick?
Love and Levis, he's going way ahead of ADP on both QBs. I think he's a wild card.
Okay. Let's just take Deshaun.
Yeah, we'll keep it simple. Are you in on any of the late Cleveland receivers, Moore or Cedric Tillman, or are you too big of a fear of zeros?
Little too fearful. Elijah Moore, what I was a little, but then the concussion stuff is a little scary too.
Yeah.
On 20 round, I'm willing to. But here, okay, there. I love Bucky. I think
Boyd goes
Bucky's
ahead of
fantastic.
Tolbert. Criminal. Nice. We get this little week 16 Bucky Irving against Dallas Dome game. Little minis there. Oh yeah. Rooms like this you get in August though, where you have a lot of casual drafters. The roster construction is all jacked up, not correlating, and if you can find even a strong game stack like we did, like you're pretty happy in August to get 2. You're a lucky man. So
yeah, and there are different things that help your advance rate. Stacking is definitely one, and it's a very important one. Getting ADP value is also another good one. Spending the right amount of draft capital each position is also an important one. So like in this example, yes, I would have liked to have figured out his stack for our second one, but we got about a round of value on him. We spent the right amount of draft capital of a 4th round and a 14th round at QB. So like, yeah, it's not perfect, but we still did pretty well on my mind. And yeah, we still could. Honestly, I'd probably go Elijah Moore over. I would go Elijah Moore over Johnny Wilson with our 18th, if that's where we get to. And like still gives us some iota of stack. But yeah.
Yeah, looked like you did have Judy back at practice now. Saw him catch an end zone pass, but common guy to get injured as well. So
Deshaun could run for a touchdowner. So
yeah, and then spread the ball.
Yeah.
Okay. It probably won't win you week 17. Could though. I mean,
no.
We saw some crazy shit like weekly winners. We had a naked Jared Goff team win weekly winners.
Yeah.
One of the weeks last year. So.
And again, come week 17, if this team makes it to week 17, we need Jalen Hurts to have a big game. Like if he doesn't, we are so far behind the 8 ball by our 4th rounder QB, not only getting, not like surpassing the field, but getting beat by the field. And like, that's very, very uphill battle. And that's okay.
I'll be humble, very happy. 17 picks past ADP for Hunter Henry at 177. nice thing.
All right. Well, now you got to add a Drake May on there as your 3rd QB so you can destroy.
Yeah, no, everyone needs more QBs. This room's been crazy. Someone got done dirty here at QB. It's probably the one spot because
look at Larepo.
73, Levis at 145.
Larepo only has Goff. 6.
Okay, so maybe they're probably planning for Darnold then with Jefferson.
Yeah.
This has to be
unless
Darnold.
Someone goes Darnold before him.
Oh,
Daniel
I saw
saw the purple. Goff and Darnold is a little too light at quarterback for me, even when highly stacked, but I don't know. Maybe he can throw in a 3rd too.
Yoshi at 184.
No complaints there. Again, that's a guy that like low drafted, has the inside route to the number 3 position. Does he keep it? I don't know. That's a little scary, but solid.
Dude, Drake May is still in late in the 3rd. 5 minutes.
Oh, he goes Bryce. He's okay. If he gets the Darnold and gets like a Goff Bryce Darnold,
yeah, that'd be sick. That'd be awesome for this room. That'd be awesome.
They're all ugly stacks, but like they're stacked. Can we take a look at 2, 5, 6, 2? We want 1 running back and 2 wide receivers. If we count Elijah Moore, the last one, we're looking for 1-1 in this next. I like Tracy. I like Mason. I'd probably take
Yeah.
one of those two. I don't know what correlation if we have Indy or Detroit.
We have Miami week 16, but it's RB correlation. We have Downs for week 17 with Tracy. If you want to lean into that,
Probably
maybe.
enough of a tiebreaker for me.
Okay. Even if Mason's not
let's see wide receiver.
drafted.
Let's see wide receiver, because maybe we could make the determination there. Is there a wide receiver that we're like, I really want that player?
I'm a big Hyatt guy, but I could get away from the click pretty easily. We're saying
there's a lot of
one
choices here.
Be...
Okay. I would take the Tracy for the Josh Downs bring back. And
let's do that.
Do we have any bye week issues we need to deal for?
Not really. 10.
No, we did well. Just avoid week 10 pretty much.
Yeah.
Especially because we're going to get likely Elijah Moore.
Interesting. Okay. I would say it's. I'm not clicking.
I'd go Hyatt.
Yeah.
There's decent reason to like Hyatt. Plus, again, it's a little more in that Giants Indy game.
Let's do it. What's your thoughts on Hyatt versus Slayton at the end here?
I like Hyatt. I think the team wants Hyatt to be that route that Slayton's been the past few years. This is sophomore year for Hyatt. He still is a better and best ball type player from college. So you can still get some kind of spike weeks that way. Slayton can definitely provide you some value, but like we kind of have seen his ceiling, and I think his ceiling is just slowly going down a bit. And so now if he's not a full-time player in that role, I think that's bad. Jalen Hyatt can... Definitely. I think if Jalen Hyatt is getting the same amount of snaps as Darius Slayton, then I'd rather have Hyatt. And then if they're both getting the same amount of snaps as the year goes on, there's a better chance that Hyatt's increases. And I think Hyatt snaps, his upside is at least more efficiency there. So
yeah, he's been my main switch too in the 18th since McMillan rose. And yeah, I also like Malik. I think Malik's very interesting at the end of these drafts. I've been mixing in him quite a bit with 12%. Also feels good to get a Miami piece. If it was up to McDaniels, like they would have taken him in the fourth round. If you watch that back, he was banging the table for him, and they passed on him, and they end up getting him back. And so I think that might play a little role. Obviously, Odell going there is not great for his early season, even mid-season. It's going to cap him. It's really an end-of-season type click. And then we know Hill and Waddle come off the field quite a bit with injuries. If you do have something there, man, that could unleash some pretty big upside there.
Yeah, I mean, the 6th round definitely scares me. The high concentration of the offense to Tyreek and Waddle last year scares me a little. That said, Donald definitely had that quote earlier where just because it's happened before doesn't mean you should expect it to happen again. And I think he was talking a little about the tight end room, but that also could mean 3rd wide receiver. And they do bring in Odell Beckham, so maybe there's this increased desire to have 3 wide receivers. And then the most bullish one for me is if you look at last year, they were like bottom 5 in 3 wide receiver sets. Talent dictates what you play. Makes sense. This first preseason game, they were above 90%. They were like top 3 or top 5 or something at 3 wide receiver sets. And that's not when they have their stud guys on the field. But because you don't have Tyreek and Waddle and such on the field, the way that their offense is going to be run should still be indicative. So I thought that was really interesting that maybe they do want to build more of these 3 wide receiver sets into it. And Odell hasn't even played that. Like he's got this week-to-week injury at that age.
It's sneaky.
I don't know. Like
it's sneaky.
Yeah. So
I do agree. I do agree. The 6th round tag, it pushes him out of draft range. Like people, it scares people a lot. So I think
if this was a 22 round draft, he still probably wouldn't be getting drafted. And then I'd be so much more excited to do it. Cause like, at 18, I feel like he's 3 or 4 rounds away from like the projections of where he should be being drafted. But like I do think there's substantial upside. I think my final kind of conclusion is without an injury to Odell and another one, I don't think he really puts that value. But as an 18th round pick, I think if you have Odell continue to be hurt and then either Tyreek or Waddle just being attached to that offense and his skill set, I think it could be a really strong pick. So
I'd prefer it over Ray. I'm going to say it right now. Javon Baker's an interesting one. He's so unpolished, but he could just see a lot of playing time. So that one's, I've been mixing in a lot of Javon. A lot of Drake May, though, which is kind of.
Can we talk about the top quarterback that's available right now?
Yeah, kind of crazy.
What happened after the past week?
Kind of crazy. People flipped fast in this room.
Yeah. MD Love should take him as his QB3. It's Derek Carr and Justin Fields not getting drafted, or at least one of them not.
Elijah Moore?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, let's round it out. We do bring in the correlation here with Deshaun Watson. Drafted a little more, I want to say, at the early portion of the season, and then getting less popular as the season went on. Cedric Tillman, getting news, just bumping him.
But we end up with the final pick. Who do you go with?
He went Rashawn.
It's Derek Carr and Justin Fields not drafted. Interesting.
Wow. Interesting. Very interesting room, especially where it was supposed to be QB hungry. Yeah. Some of these teams have to be.
What happened with Darnold and the Goff team? Did the Goff team go with Darnold as the third?
That was team 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. Yes.
Okay.
I think that was good. I think that was good for him. This team makes a lot of sense. Very elite at tight end.
The Bowers to pair with Laporta is a little tough in my mind. And that's where you could have got Jaden Daniels or someone and makes a bit of a difference. But yeah.
I want to check the 3. Okay, so this guy does stop at 4 RBs. Stop with Antonio Gibson. I think that's fine.
I think Gibson is a perfect fourth running back in this build because you're not looking for upside with your fourth running back in this situation. Because even if your fourth running back has a huge year, what are the chances that they're actually going to have a top 5 where they're out producing the Bijan, JT, and Kyron? You just want someone for those occasional bye weeks and the occasional injuries, and Gibson's just going to give you the 8 points instead of the zeros.
Yeah. And you're leaning into nailing these top 3 RBs.
Yeah.
Dak, Herbert, this team turned out pretty good. I'll give it to him for starting 3 RBs. I think the balance here is pretty good. Definitely leaning into Juwan returning, but that's nice.
Who were the QBs again?
Dak and Herbert. He could have brought in Fields on this team. I don't know if Ray really does much as a 10th receiver.
I would have gone with a third tight end instead of.
And that's another option for sure.
Yeah, instead of Ray.
But fun team. Last one. We'll check out the Pounders draft, Zeke in the live stream. Lamar Jackson and Kirk. So he does get Kirk, Gibbs, Warren, White, and Brian Robinson. Fun for RB hyperfragile. Maybe on the thinner end, but hero RB build around Gibbs too. AJ Brown, Tank Dell, Flowers, Lockett, Mike Williams, Dotson, Bateman, Yoshi, Johnny Wilson. Is this 11 receivers? How many did I just name? And Jordan Whittington with Pitts and Henry getting the fall. I mean, it's
Zeke and Destroy, you definitely live by the scroll the F down mantra. So I'll at least throw some respect on the name there.
Yeah. Maybe
not a bad thing. I'm this isn't a criticism because the difference between Johnny Wilson and another guy going that late, you're definitely getting some upside at very, very low draft ownership.
I think diminishing returns after the 9th receiver. What's the cost of just adding a 5th RB instead of Whittington? But that's it. Fun team. Nice draft. But Justin, don't want to hold you too long. Appreciate you coming on. Tell the people what you have going on right now.
No, yeah, I'm just drafting. You know that. They can find me on Twitter. Actually, if you're a golfer, go on my Twitter right now and give me a response because I'm golfing tomorrow morning and it's only 3 of us and I'm trying to figure out what a fair kind of matchup is. I'm a 9 handicap. They're both about 18s. So I'm trying to get a little poll of who's the favorite is about fair. So Give me your thoughts. Give me your engagement on the Twitter sphere if you are a golfer.
Let's go. Links in the chat, links in the description. Appreciate you guys watching today. Man, it's been a wild ride this whole summer, almost like doubling the channel. So if we get to 2K, we're going to be doing that 24-hour live stream on August 31st. We'll see how that rounds out, but it's going to be a scary one. But
hey, thanks for inviting me. And hey, we did week 16 last year. Let's get to the finals this year. Let's do it.
Hell yeah. Thanks, Justin. Guys, have a good night. Pounders.